Hello, I'm Cassandra, and today I'm going to tell you my TBR for this Fantasy-A-Thon. Fantasy-A-Thon is running between the 5th and the 15th of April, so we are fast approaching. I am filming this on the 4th, so you know, out in good time. I heard about this from Julie from Pages and Pen, which is one of my absolute favourite booktubers. She is co-hosting this together with Maddie from The Book Pusher and Ali from Ali Covert Books. This is the first readathon that I decided I would participate in. I am also participating in the Owl's Magical Readathon, which started on Monday. So technically that is the first one I'm actually participating in, but this one is the first one that I decided I would participate in. So when I heard about it, I decided that, you know what, I have that one book on my TBR shelf that I definitely want to get to rather soon, and Fantasy-A-Thon would be a perfect time to get to it. What that book is, we're gonna get to. I looked at the prompts and then I decided which prompts that book fit, and then all the prompts that book didn't fit, I found a second book. So I'm only gonna read 2 books for this readathon, and that is because I very much would like to finish the readathon and like complete it. But I fear that because one of my books is rather thick, I won't have time to read a bunch of books. So instead of going through the prompts and then telling you which book fits that prompt, I'm going to show you the books and then I'm going to tell you which prompts those books fit. So the books that I have is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon and The Masked City by Genevieve Cockman. The Priory of the Orange Tree I know very little about. I know that there are dragons, I know that there is a female-female romance, I know that it has to do with the conflict between East and West and how the East and the West look at dragons differently, but I don't know much more than that, and I would like to keep it that way. The Masked City is the second book in the, I think it's called the Invisible Library series. The first book is called Invisible Library. I own it and I read it quite a few years ago, like maybe 4 years ago, and I would like to get some series completed off of my shelves, so I decided I would borrow this one from the library and try to read it and see if this is a series that I am actually interested in continuing on with. The plot of the Invisible Library is that there is a central organization called the Library, and from this library you can travel into different dimensions, and then the librarians are tasked with finding and preserving important works from each dimension, if I remember correctly. Like I said, it was 4 years ago. And then there were some like interesting revelations at the end of the first book that I am intrigued to see if they will continue on in this series. That's like the only thing I remember from the first book, so we'll see. Now to the prompts. The first prompt is to read a diverse fantasy, and for that one I'm picking The Priory of the Orange Tree because it had that female-female romance. Thank you to Maddie from The Book Pusher for letting me know that. The second prompt is to read a debut or backlist title, and for that one I'm reading The Masked City. There are more books in the series that have come out, so this is a backlist title. The next prompt is to start or continue on in a series, and again, The Masked City is a continuation, it's a sequel in a series. The fourth prompt is to read a hype train fantasy, and for that one, that would be Priory of the Orange Tree. It has been getting a lot of hype. I have not seen one negative review of this. I have not even heard anyone telling me that it is even like a 4-star. I think everyone I know that has read it has rated it a 5-star. The fifth challenge is to read a book you set aside a second chance. Now, this one is gonna be The Masked City, and I'm sort of stretching the meaning of that prompt to mean that I set this series aside and I'm giving it a second chance by continuing on in it. And the sixth prompt is to read a book from a genre or format or age group that you don't normally read from. And that one I'm also stretching the meaning of a little bit and picking The Masked City because I don't usually read young adult. I read it sometimes, but I prefer adult. So I'll be reading a young adult novel. The seventh prompt is to immerse yourself in self-care. Now, that could be something like sitting on the couch reading with candles, or like cooking something delicious in eating it, or eating some wonderful snacks. I think I'm gonna try to read in the bath. I know a lot of booktubers like to do that and they say that they enjoy it very much. I don't usually do that, so I think I'm gonna try it and see if I like it. So that's gonna be my 7th prompt. Now if I for some reason finish those 2 books and feel like, oh, I have a lot of time left to read more books, I have 2 more books that I might get to within the Fantasy Readathon. And those books are Freshwater by Aweki Emesi and Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. Now, as you can see, the Robin Hobb book is quite thick, just like Priory of the Orange Tree, so I don't think, if I were to be able to read both of those books within the Fantasy-A-Thon, I don't think I would have time to read anything else. So I might not finish that one, but I'm thinking maybe I would be able to start. And Freshwater is quite thin, so that one might have a bigger possibility of being able to get read during the week. Now, Freshwater is about a girl who has a foot on the other side. It is on the long list for the Women's Prize for Fiction, but it is in my library shelved as fantasy, so it could go under Fantasy-A-Thon. Now, that's just a possibility if I have a chance to get to it. This one would accomplish 2 of the prompts. It is a debut novel, so it would complete that prompt. And it would also be a hype train, since it is on the long list. A lot of the booktubers that I watch have read this or want to read this, so it would be a hype train as well. This one would count for a backlist title and for continuing on in a series, or perhaps starting a new series. It is the 2nd trilogy within the Realm of the Elderlings world that Robin Hobb has created. So that would complete those 2. This series is about people. I heard there was a bunch of women who live on a ship, or they have a ship, and it's a live ship. This whole series is called the Live Ship Traders. They are on this live ship where I think if 3 generations of a family has died upon this ship, the ship becomes alive and has a sort of a mind of its own. It becomes its own character. So I'm excited to get into this. I'm really loving Robin Hobb's writing, and I'm really loving this world. So I'm excited to get into it, and that's why I'm putting this on the TBR list. I don't think, like, of all of these 4, this one is the one I'm least likely to get to. But you know, you can always hold out hope. So, thank you for watching. If you are participating in Fantasy-A-Thon, please tell me down below, and if you are reading or have read any of these books, please let me know that too, so that we can talk about it. Have a lovely Fantasy-A-Thon, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!